Have you ever just wanted to tear up your taxes? Just kidding. But believe it or not, a group of people in the Philippines tore up their taxes in response to Spanish colonization. They were led by one man, Andres Bonifacio. And in today's video, we'll talk about his life, his upbringing, his leadership in the armed revolution against Spanish colonization, and so much more than just tearing up taxes.
Lalaban tayo! Oh! Punitin ang sedula!
If you're around Manila, you might be familiar with the district of Tondo. This was where Andres Bonifacio was born, on the 30th of November, 1863. He didn't come from a rich family. In fact, he held his humble roots strongly. To support his family, he made paper cranes, fans, and posters to sell with his siblings. He worked in a warehouse and a trading firm. And can you imagine teenage Bonifacio acting in theater plays? Talk about hustle! Because he didn't come from a rich family, formal education was inaccessible. But this did not stop him from learning, because he was big on books. He indulged himself in history books and was particularly interested in the French Revolution, Victor Hugo's Les Miserables, and the lives of the US presidents. Of course, we can't forget about #SupportLocal. Bonifacio was also able to read Rizal's novels Noli Tangere and El Filibusterismo. If you like well-read men, Bonifacio is definitely the guy for you. There's a saying that goes, "You are what you eat," and we like to believe that you are also what you read. Bonifacio's reading spree influenced his socio-political ideologies and beliefs. His activism began when he served as a founding member of La Liga Filipina, a group of Filipinos who called for reforms from the Spanish government. During his time there, he would aid in organizing people and clamor for a stop to violence and abuse, and support for local businesses and farmers. However, after Rizal's deportation and death, Bonifacio realized enough was enough. It was time for radical change. His activisms and beliefs would soon be concretized in the formation of the Kataas-taasang Kagalang-galangang Katipunan ng mga Anak ng Bayan. Now, Katipunan isn't just a road in Quezon City. And if you think so, you might want to read up more on your Philippine history class. During Bonifacio's time, the Spanish Empire was already losing its glory and colonies in America. And in the Philippines, things were not looking so good either. Revolts have already transpired in different areas of the Philippines, and as time passes by, resistance grows strong. The death of national hero Jose Rizal can be pinpointed as the turning point for the culmination of an armed revolution. And remember the people who tore their taxes up? That actually happened in August of 1896. And the event was called the Cry of Pugadlawin, or Balintawak, since the location is disputed. This event marked the beginning of the Philippine Revolution led by the Katipunan against the Spaniards, and Bonifacio led as the Katipunan Supremo. Aside from organizing the revolt and coordinating with people that could contribute to the Katipunan's cause, Bonifacio wrote pieces for Kalayaan, the group's organ. His most famous work is entitled Pag-ibig sa Tinubuang Lupa, where he talks about love for his homeland. And speaking of love, Bonifacio was not short of love to give it only to the motherland, but also to his two wives. He first married Monica, a neighbor in Tondo, who would later die of leprosy, a common disease in the country during that time. In 1892, he would meet Gregoria de Jesus, or Kaoriang, who would serve as the leader of the women's chapter of the Katipunan. Now that's love on a radical level. As Filipino victory became clearer as Spanish forces began to suffer multiple defeats in their battles with the Katipunan, there were questions about Bonifacio's significance as a leader. Was he going to be the next leader of the Philippines? Was he going to be assumed into position? There are documents that call him the Supreme President of the sovereign nation of the Katagalugan, and confusion regarding this issue will be settled at the Tejeros Convention, where they can finally recognize who would lead the country. Well, the outcome did not look so good, and more drama ensued in that convention. a member of the convention questioned Bonifacio's legitimacy to hold the position, as he did not have a lawyer's diploma. In anger, Bonifacio declared the election results null. Bonifacio and 44 of his men formulated the Acto de Tejeros, expressing discontent over Emilio Aguinaldo's fraudulent win in the Tejeros Convention and accusing him of negotiating with the Spaniards. It was that moment that dictated his inevitable death. Following Emilio Aguinaldo's oath-taking as generalismo of the country, Bonifacio would be tried for treason because of the Acta de Tejeros. His camp in Indang, Cavite would be attacked by Aguinaldo's men, resulting in the death of his brother, presumed the harassment of his wife Caoriang, and several injuries. Bonifacio and his brother Procopio stood trial and were found guilty of treason, with recommendations to execute them. Although there were contentions to the execution, Bonifacio and his brother were executed in Maragondon, Cavite. Until today, Bonifacio's remains are still lost and have yet to be found. 126 years after his death, there are still questions about Bonifacio's legacy in Philippine history. Was his death legally justified? Was he really a threat to the united front against the Spanish? Should he have been the national hero of the Philippines instead of Jose Rizal? Where are his remains? Should he be considered the first Philippine president? These only prove that there are varying accounts and perspectives on Bonifacio's life, and much is to be discovered and studied. But his contribution to the Philippine Revolution and the liberation of the country from 330 years of Spanish colonial rule remains unquestioned. How about you? Do you believe that he should have been the national hero? Where do you think his remains are? Should he have been considered the first Philippine president? Let us know what you think by commenting down below. Like, share, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell if you'd like to learn more with us. Thanks for watching!